Today's video is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/MagzTV or click the link in the video description below. G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder with Mags. So as I'm sure you've noticed, I've been taking a little bit of a break from War Thunder, not playing it so much. This was largely due to a little bit of burnout after grinding my way so quickly through most of the Italian tree, but I still do pop on every now and again to poke around, so the rumours of me quitting the game are greatly exaggerated. Anyway, today we're flying out the Spitfire Mk.XVI. I've been hearing rumours about the performance of British 20mm cannons and American 12.7mm or 50 caliber machine guns, so I thought what better than flying at an aircraft that has both. The Mk.XVI is rank 4, battle rating 5, and is armed with two 20mm Hispano Mk.II cannons with 240 rounds of ammunition between them, and two 12.7mm or 50 caliber Browning M2 machine guns with 500 rounds in total, 250 per gun. Max speed, fully upgraded, is around 651 km an hour in level flight. Its turn time's quite nippy at 19.8 seconds with a rate of climb of 4,390 feet per minute. So overall it's a pretty good machine. It's probably not quite as good as the Spitfire Mk.IX, or at least it wasn't, however it is still fantastically good fun to fly. So today's match is on Ruhr versus Germany, and it started out pretty much like any other match would. See you're against a German team, point the Spitfire's nose at the sky and climb as fast as possible and hope they don't get above you. However, strangely, this time I needn't have worried about that. I managed to get this thing out to 16,000 feet and was almost to the enemy base before I realised there's nobody up here. For some strange reason, the entire German team had chosen to go below 10,000 feet for the entirety of this match, most of them damn near cutting the trees. Now there's always one or two pilots for every team that will do this, but it's very rare to see all 16 players that low, especially German players. But enough of that for the moment. So we've made our dive in on the first target. We've got a Bf-109 G6 and we've thrown ourselves into a hard turning battle. Now I came out of the dive way too fast, overshot the target, he saw me coming, threw myself into an aggressive turn and almost instantly blacked myself out. Just too many positive Gs, and I didn't negative G to counter because, well, honestly the last time I flew out the Mk.XVI, negative Gs tended to snap the wings off, and I don't know if that's still the case. That being said, it did allow me to bleed off the speed, and I was going hard enough that I still managed to keep the advantage, slotted back in on the G6's tail. Now the G6 is a beautiful machine, I love flying mine, but this is a Spitfire. And there goes my first kill. So, the 50 cals and the 20mm seem to be working perfectly fine so far, but then I actually ran into another problem. I just couldn't get to the enemy fast enough. This P-47 drops in on this premium Tempest and rips it to pieces, so we check targets to the left, there's nothing over there. Target to the right, we do have a 109 at low altitude, but a Spitfire is engaging it at the moment and it is slowly getting pulled apart, and by the time we manage to close the distance to this aircraft, well, it's down too. So of course the only question at this point was where did the rest of the enemy team actually go? The 109 is just about to go down. In fact, there he goes into a fireball, and the nearest target that we can actually see at this point is 18 kilometers away. So after 4 to 5 minutes I actually spotted the dots to the enemy aircraft. There is at least one of the 3 remaining aircraft in this match on the auxiliary runway on the Ruhr map. So just getting into position over the top of it, and there is our first target, the Bf-109. So it's circling around there at the moment, and we already have a Spitfire that is moving in to engage. So once again, this may be a kill that I am unable to catch up to. Although having said that, maybe I will if this Spitfire continues to try and engage this 109 directly over the top of the auxiliary airfield. It may have less AAA than the main base, but it still has AAA. And that's when we spot the premium Tempest, the cross-nation Tempest. I have noticed, just doing a couple of flyouts yesterday before making this video, that the Tempest and the P-47 seem to have come back into large-scale popularity with the users. It seems everybody that has them in this battle rating is currently flying them. I'm curious on exactly what for. So, at this point, I had a bit of a choice to make. The Typhoon shot straight through and is moving to engage the Spitfire that was engaging the 109. Now, my instinct tells me to go after the 109. If I go after the Tempest, the 109 can easily slot on my tail and potentially kill me, but at exactly the same time, if I do not get on that Tempest, it is likely going to kill that Spitfire, and in just a few moments I'm going to be dealing with two enemy fighters together instead of a one-on-one. So I take a stab at the K4 on the way through, but as I was firing the shot, I decided that the Tempest was the best action. This thing is fast enough and maneuverable enough that I'll be able to easily outmaneuver the aircraft behind me, but this Tempest has to die. Unfortunately, my first couple of rounds came a little short, but this is a Tempest versus a Spitfire, so quickly turn back in, hits across the tail, hits across the tanks, and there we go, second kill of the match. So, with him done, now I've got to deal with the K4 that I put on my tail, whether intentionally or not. So the easiest way to do this is to try and force this K4 into an extremely tight turning battle. And he has taken the bait. We are now in a death spiral, a spiral that he can't win. The BF-109 K4 is a fantastic aircraft. It's extremely maneuverable for 109 and has a lot of power, but it can't turn with a Spitfire. It just can't do it. It can get creative and maneuver around a Spitfire in order to get a firing solution, but unfortunately by entering this spiral, the window on that opportunity is closed. If he'd wanted to do that, he should have taken the K4 directly into the vertical after missing that first pass, using his energy to take as much altitude as he could, then reversing the plane over and re-diving on my Spitfire. Once I'd completed a half turn and was on my way away from him, he would have dropped straight in on the 6 and been able to take a shot at me. Instead, by turning, he blew all of his energy, which has allowed me to slowly creep around onto his 6. First critical hits the central gear leg, and also does damage to the left wing. Second critical blows the tail control straight out of the aircraft, and in he goes for my third kill. He's also the last remaining aircraft on the enemy team. There was one additional 109 that was flying around, but it got swatted while I was in the middle of that engagement. So at this point, with all enemy aircraft destroyed and nothing else to do before the tickets hit 0, I head straight over to the nearest AAA emplacement that I can find and begin strafing out the AAA. So, anyways, let's go to the results. So, the results for the match. Well, not as good as I was hoping. We got Fighter Rescuer, Shadow Strike Streak X3, Final Blow, The Best Squad, Terror of the Sky, and Bulletproof. 71,775 Silver Lions for 3 kills, 1 assist, and 4th place. This is, well, I admit, I don't get War Thunder scoring system anymore. It confuses the hell out of me. I understand first place, 1 air kill, 10 ground targets, that makes sense. But 2 kills in second place over 3 and a ground target in third, and then 1 kill and some bombs dropped without a ground kill? I just don't get it. The 71,775 Silver Lions was from a Booster Plus Premium account, and we took 4,492 modification research points, along with 3,678 vehicle research points, which all went into the Lincoln, which I didn't actually realise I hadn't already unlocked. So overall, not a bad match in terms of my performance, but what was very odd is how the Germans flew this match. Even the last time I was playing, before I took a little bit of a hiatus, the Germans still were fighting from altitude, as they should, because that's where German aircraft perform the best. They operate better in that role. To see an entire German team on the deck like that was, well, surprising to say the least. The other thing I noticed was the relatively few Italian aircraft in this particular lineup. Go back to just before I went on my little break, there would have been Italian aircraft everywhere. Most of the field would have been built out of Italian aircraft. I think there may have only been 1 or 2 and none that I really engaged, so clearly that hype train has finally rolled to a halt. Regardless, if nothing else, it was a fun match to fly, and it has been a long time since I've taken the 16 out for a spin, and she is a hell of a lot of fun. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to help me out here, do my videos on MagzTV. There are now actually 2 ways you can do this. Of course, the first one is my Patreon, which has been around for a while now. The support from all of my Patreon supporters is pretty much the only thing that's been keeping this channel up and running in light of the adpocalypse that is in place at the moment with YouTube basically being a pack of bastards. The second way is with Audible, my new sponsor for the channel. Audible's an Amazon company that deals exclusively in audiobooks, and they are fantastic at what they do. Over 180,000 titles to choose from, available on pretty much every single device that you can name. If you'd like to test out a free 30-day trial with Audible and be able to download a free ebook of your choice, go to www.audibletrial.com/MagzTV or click the link in the video description below. Anyways, ladies and gents, until next time, click that like button if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.